Morning, everyone. Thank you for the music. It gives you the oomph you need to get up on stage. It's great to be here. So we want this to be kind of like an interactive, engaging session for everyone. So we will start off with some quick introductions from all of us, but then we've got some polling questions that will be released afterwards, and that will help us guide the conversation into an area that is of interest to the audience. So I'll start off with a bit of introduction from myself. So my name is Noel Helliwell. I'm a lead machine learning engineer at Lloyds Banking Group. So I've kind of been at the coalface of data science, machine learning engineering, and now onto agentic, but recently moved more into kind of like the area of upskilling and what skills our organization needs for AI first future. I'll hand over to Xin.
Hello, everyone. I am Xin. I am a machine learning and AI engineer at Lloyds Banking Group. I joined nearly 4 years ago as a data science grad. That's before ChatGPT came out, and I've been through a lot of upskilling myself, now working on building and evaluating AI solutions and scale them safely across the organization.
Very good. And good morning, everybody. So I'm Duncan Reynell. I run all our skilling efforts at Lloyds Banking Group. And before we get going, I was just going to do a couple of minutes just to provide some context about what we're trying to do as an organisation. So like all of you, Lloyds Banking Group is in the midst of one of the largest transformations in UK financial services. And artificial intelligence plays a really critical part of our own transformation. So we're reimagining our business in the world of and in the potential of AI, enabling colleagues and customers to really benefit from personalised experiences and really benefiting from this game-changing technology. And hopefully you'll hear a little bit more and you will read about it in the report because there's a case study for Lloyds Banking Group there. So we believe AI is a real accelerator for Lloyds Banking Group, providing a once-in-a-generation transformation opportunity with significant impact to increase revenue as well as productivity. One of the things we're really proud of at Lloyds is our data. It's one of our sort of superpowers, and we're sort of integrating seamlessly, therefore, AI into all of our operations. And one of the commitments that we're making is we're delivering AI for everybody within the organisation to ensure that everybody is able to leverage the technology in their day-to-day work and do it responsibly, of course. So we've developed an AI Academy, and hopefully we'll talk about that in a little while. And we're using it to transform our workforce so that they can build, use and apply AI in their day-to-day work. And we've created some tailored learning pathways for our AI users, leaders, enablers, and builders. And we've also given every single colleague in the organisation a development goal around AI because we want to increase that capacity and capability and confidence at pace across the group and give it the right focus. So our leaders are being trained how to spot and sponsor AI opportunities. All of our engineers are being trained in the latest AI technology, and we're ensuring that all of our colleagues are equipped to be able to use AI in their day-to-day work. And so we're really keen to move from sort of AI foundational literacy to AI fluency as quickly as possible because we need it at scale within the organisation. So what we're going to do, there's a bit of jeopardy in what we're just about to do. So we're going to, there's a poll that's going to come up. And the first question is around some of the challenges. So we're really keen to hear about what are the challenges that you're facing when it comes to AI upskilling. And based on your responses, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do at Lloyds Banking Group and hopefully give you some practical food for thought as well as some of the experiences and things perhaps that we wouldn't do again if we had our time again. So if you go onto the app and if you want to vote against those 4 questions, and let's see what the answers are.
Yep. While people are voting, I can talk a little bit about how Lloyds is applying AI across the organisation, because I think one of the themes that I've heard here is actually turning learning into value coming up quite a lot. So we kind of have 12 strategic investment areas where we believe AI can transform the organisation. So this is like end-to-end transformation, all the way from transforming how our app works and can we implement agentic AI there, into back office all the way into like things like back office processes, transforming our call centers, and transforming customer journeys. And these are kind of like broad thematic areas, and one of the things we work on is upskilling people across the bank to work in any of these areas, and also making sure that the learning is shared between each of the strategic investment areas so that we're not constantly reinventing the wheel.
Right, let's see the results if we can.
They come up on here? Ooh, that's a
Right.
pretty even split.
So should we go with C? So teams are hesitant to deliver because the how feels risky or unclear.
Yes, I'm happy to start on that. So one of the ways we've tried to mitigate some of the risks in rolling out AI is we have this kind of principle of responsible by design. So we don't let people loose on the tools out there as they exist in the market. We kind of have interfaces between them that have integrated guardrails that are turned on by default. So an example of this is when we're, for example, accessing Gemini models. You don't access the models directly. We've built an internal interface, and it checks for things like prompt injection or tone of voice to make sure that we aren't putting our systems at risk. We also focus really heavily on kind of developing signed-off approved patterns. So if a team is starting with using AI, they're not starting from scratch. They can go to what we call our AI pattern store, and at the moment we've got about a dozen patterns in there where anyone across the organization can go and see how a project has been delivered, see the process, and actually take the code that team used and lift it and shift it into their work stream. So we kind of reduce the risk by having interfaces between us and these external models, and also giving people patterns and tooling to work with. Jenna, you've kind of been a bit closer to some of these patterns than I have. I don't know if you want to talk about your work.
Yeah, so the central team has done a lot of work to build a reusable component playbook for evaluation and for guardrails in AI solutions. And it's really nice to have these components so that we have something to start with rather than starting from scratch or reinvent the wheel. Because AI is a new thing for everyone, even for engineers with over 10 years of experience. So, and the uncertainty often comes from people don't know what good looks like and how do we evaluate AI when it's not deterministic, because traditional rules-based engineering is very deterministic. How do we do quality engineering in the AI use cases? The central team has came up with our in-house Pegasus evaluation framework, where we have metrics for different AI use cases such as summarization, retrieval augmented generation, and also agentic metrics. And we also have guardrails that's integrated into Cortex so that teams can use seamlessly without building guardrails from scratch. Yeah.
So the only other thing I'd say is we obviously do quite a bit around our mandatory training to ensure that people are equipped and understand how to use AI responsibly. One thing we will be doing is doing that at least twice a year, because things are moving on so rapidly. We feel it's really important that everybody understands the guardrails and how to sort of ensure that we're using it in the right way. So helpfully or unhelpfully, we've got a sort of
or a tie.
A and D, a tie. So if we just do A for a moment, so people don't have a clear starting point. So if I just take the example of the AI Academy, so we, working alongside the likes of Noel in the Chief Data and AI Office, I've got it right this time. So we created an AI Academy at real pace, so a minimal viable product. I think we did it in a couple of months. It was all about foundational knowledge. We took a deliberate choice to have different personas, so the user, leader, enabler, and builder. But one of the other things that we did within that was we did a diagnostic that all colleagues, we encouraged them to sort of answer a few sort of very straightforward questions, which helped them identify which of those personas am I. And then the second piece was, at what stage am I on in my personal AI journey? So am I right at the start of it, or am I actually sort of quite proficient or an expert? And what that did was that it took them to the right content within our academy so that they could start their sort of learning journey at the right level. So we've done quite a lot to help them navigate. The academy, we're doing It's a bit like software doing big releases very regularly. So we've already done version 2, which is about focusing on our builders who are working in those strategic investments to enable them to build the agentic technology at pace. And we're already working on version 3 in terms of what we do next. So helping people navigate is really, really important. I think we will adjust over time to become more sort of proficiency-led in terms of how we guide people. But to get going, we did that diagnostic and it seemed to land pretty well.
Yeah, I can pick up a little bit on that because when you think about starting point, there's a starting point for learning and then there's like a starting point for actual application of the learning as well. And I think this was something we maybe missed a little bit in the first iteration of the academy, where we had like lots of really useful learning material for everyone, but we didn't have like explicit examples of how you get up and running on Lloyds software itself. So in the second iteration, what we kind of brought out was like a quick like get up and go, build your own agent set of tooling. So it's literally like 30 minutes of training with some sample code, and it gets you build your first agent, you use your first guardrail, you do your first bit of evaluation, and it's kind of like the theory, like the first step is the hardest. So if we could get people to take that first step very quickly, hopefully then that kind of has a snowball effect on their learning.
Very good. Should we have a go at doing number D number D? Let's do letter D. So we can't prove value or track whether learning is turning into adoption. So if I start on this one. So if we take Copilot, we started off, so we've got about 40,000 licenses, I think, out of the 67,000 colleagues. And we started with, of the licenses that we have issued, who are using them. So are we getting the right sort of utilization? We're moving very rapidly into a broader set of metrics. So within the academy, we can look at consumption and utilization of the content there. We're also looking at when people are using Copilot, what are they using it for? So what type of activities are they applying it? So is it just doing actions and summaries of a meeting, or are they using it more sort of consciously and in a considered way in terms of the application of their work? So we are maturing quite fast, and we're using that across a variety of products. Is there anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, I think, Xin, you can probably talk to some of the, like turning the learning into adoption, but one of the things we tried to focus on in the learning is making sure it's not kind of learning by rote. So we have kind of 2 levels of assessments for our pro-code agent builders. So the first assessment is really like knowledge-based assessment, so it's quizzes to make sure they understand things. And then we have a second layer of accreditation, which is them demonstrating that they've applied their learning. So getting sign-off from an engineering lead or their manager saying this person has made this many meaningful contributions to this project. Jin, I think you've been going through the accreditation process. So.
Yeah, so for the AI Builder accreditation, there are 2 tiers. The first tier is about theoretical understanding and also awareness of the frameworks out there that helps you to build agents and what are their differences and their strengths and weaknesses, and when you should choose each framework in certain use case. And another point about the theoretical foundation is also about what's available in LBG, and because we need to build things that's compliant to the governance and to the regulations. And we have central offerings that with built-in governance, so you don't have to start from scratch, such as our agent engine, platform Envoy, and also the Pegasus evaluation framework and all the guardrails. So an awareness of those central frameworks also enables you to build your agent faster and to focus on the use case rather than things that's already been built or standardized. And the second tier is about meaningful contribution to an AI use case. And this can vary from person to person. You can contribute to the evaluation guardrails, and you can feed back your business requirement to the central team to help us build the frameworks better.
Cool, thank you. We might have to be
Very good. Should we go second question? Hopefully it'll be on your app. So which group do you most need to enable in the next 6 to 12 months?
I feel like we've talked a lot about the builders so far, so hopefully people don't pick builders.
We haven't talked about senior leaders yet, so I want to direct people. Okay, should we see where we got to with the results?
Nice.
Well, seeing as we haven't spoken about senior leaders, we'll do that one first. So one of the things that we've put in place for our senior leadership group, so this is our sort of top 300 executives, we've partnered with the Cambridge Spark organisation, and we've got a 6-month programme that we've put in place. We're doing our final cohort, I think, in July. So a lot of it is immersing our senior leaders in the technology, really understanding what's here today and what's coming in the future. It's one of those programs that's had to be rewritten a number of times because the technology is moving so fast. So they get immersed in some of the sort of the foundational knowledge, but the really big and important power of it is the collaboration between the senior executives to sort of identify agentic use cases. So they are set a task working collaboratively across the organisation to think about what's the art of the possible, and I think they have to present that back, don't they, as part of the programme to sort of get the critique from their sort of broader group. But one of the other things that we've done to equip our senior leaders, and we're sort of evolving it as we go along, is an initiative called AI Ninjas. So, Jin, do you want to talk about that?
So AI Ninja is a reverse mentoring program where we pair senior leaders with engineers who have hands-on experience with AI use cases so that we can increase their exposure to AI from not just theoretical level from what they've learned in their program and courses and training to exposure to people working on real use cases. It's more than just teaching them what is AI, how do we use AI, and is it safe to use AI, but also it's a two-way conversation where we also learn about their pain points, why they're hesitant to adopt AI. For example, I am paired with a tax director, and I learned that we need to be really careful about the discoverability of privileged documents because we don't want the documents to lose its privilege, and we really need to be careful with access and control when using AI. And so once we know their pain points, we can work with them to shift the kind of a question they ask from what is AI to how can this create value in their domain.
Cool, thank you.
Very good. So should we do number 8, the whole workforce? Noel, do you want to talk a bit about the Data and AI Summer School as one of our initiatives?
Yeah, so I think one of the keys to getting people learning is to kind of keep the momentum going, so keep different modalities and keep the momentum moving. So we run a Data and AI Summer School that takes place over July and August, and it's a little more like casual learning than doing some kind of hands-on course. But what we do is we get volunteers from across the organizations who are specialists in different areas to present, do hands-on exercises, and actually like get people together in person as well to start coding and building some of these agents. And I think the real kind of inspiration for people comes as well is when they meet people who have already delivered something within Lloyds. So you've got that kind of like not only the example of it being delivered, but the inspiration that actually you can build something end to end, and there's someone who's already worked through all the pain points that I am working through.
So one of the other things that we're doing for the whole workforce, or actually a large segment of our workforce, as part of our revised recognition arrangements with the unions, we have developed what we call a skills council. So we meet probably quarterly with the unions to identify areas of mutual interest that help us to think about what are the actions we could put in place to equip our frontline colleagues to face into and get themselves ready for the impact of AI on frontline positions. So recently we commissioned a piece of work with Helliwell and their sort of Future of Work Institute to do a joint study with the unions to look at what's happening within the broader industry, the retail sector, but also the specific things that we could be doing as an organisation. So the exciting thing over the next 6 to 12 months is that we've got some areas to explore with the unions where we can do some joint working to really help equip the the workforce so that they remain employable. It may not be with Lloyds, but they remain employable because we've been able to equip them to adapt to AI. Anything else we want to say around the...
One reflection I have about trying to upskill a whole workforce is don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So when we were releasing our AI training, we knew it wouldn't be everything for everyone, but we could get something for most people. So we could move one group of people kind of up their upskilling journey, and then in following iterations, start moving other people. So it's more important to kind of get some stuff out there and get some people moving rather than trying to do everything all at once.
So we haven't talked about delivery teams. So in the couple of minutes we've got left, is there anything that you want to cover off in terms of plans for the next 6 to 12 months?
So in terms of delivery teams, I think it's more about understanding how we can upskill the different roles in delivery teams, because I think we've mostly been focused so far on our builders and practitioners. So these are people which be your like traditional software engineers or your traditional data scientists, because they were the ones that are actually coding up our agents. But the delivery team is more than just people building stuff. We've got a bunch of enabling teams, so risk teams, governance teams, project managers. So the kind of next focus group we've got there is like upskilling them in AI to give them kind of like the tools and language to talk to the builders so they can have those kind of conversations, and also make them aware at the high level of all the kind of internal tooling we've got, so that when they're delivering projects, they can sense check, I know you're using Pegasus, so therefore this piece of governance we don't need to do because that's an internal tool and we've kind of got it signed off.
I haven't looked at any of these questions. Any questions from the floor whilst go on? Yeah, save me, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Interesting. Really interesting, thank you. Curious question, how long has it taken you to get from when you started on this journey to where you are now? Because it sounds like and seems like you've got an amazing array of things. So part A, how long have it taken to get to where you are now? And part B, in hindsight, what would you have done in hindsight to get here even quicker?
So if we take the AI Academy as a concept, so we've worked to a sort of segmentation approach with our colleagues and the different skills academies. So we've had various versions of that, but the recognition that we needed to do something more substantial probably was November, wasn't it? And it went live mid-January. So we had to move really far this year, so November. But it was definitely progress over perfection. There were a few rough edges, but we made a virtue of that with our colleagues. We've sought loads of feedback. We've had about 19,000 of our colleagues say, could you do this and this? So what would we do? What would we do differently? Was the second.
What would you have done differently to make that journey even quicker?
Quicker?
Is there anything in hindsight you think you've done that would be here, or even further advanced?
I think what we've discovered is that we could have thought earlier on less about digital content. So sort of the sort of curated stuff that you can do. There's more that we can do on the Lloyds context.
More hands-on stuff.
And more hands-on stuff. Yeah. So if we could have accelerated and brought that as an earlier package, that would have been good. But that would have been tall order in 3 months. Anything else you'd add?
No, I think I think if you think about the journey not just being releasing the academy but getting people upskilled, I would have just prioritized how can we get people hands-on as quickly as possible, whereas we kind of did that later in our journey.
So we started fast, but we know we've got a long journey to go. So I think we're at time. 0. There we go.
Ding, ding, ding. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I do like your progress over perfection line, because I think that encapsulates what we need to think here. We don't know all the answers, but we need to start making some progress. I have a feeling there's quite a lot of questions for you, and luckily we're now moving into the break. So it's not a break with no work. Do network, do ask questions of each other, do learn from each other. That's part of what the Commission does. Do also visit the stands. We've got QA and Lightcast, City HR, Cornerstone, as well as KPMG Nationwide and City UK and the Commission. You can go and get all the merch you want. So enjoy the coffee break, and we'll see you back here at 11:25. Thank you.